Okay, we are talking about the meaning of Save the Freaks. So Save the Freaks is the fourth song on the album, and it was kind of inspired by a dream I had when I was younger, a reoccurring dream. In the dream, I was running away from something, and it was dark out, and I don't know, I'm not sure if I was in a forest or something, or some kind of whatever, and then I see this house or this cabin, and I run across this bridge and then run into the cabin or house, and it's still dark out, I'm still running from something, and then I run into this particular room and close the door, and there's this window. If this is the door here, there's this window that's placed right like here in lined up with the door, and I'd hide under the window and curl up in a ball, and now I know what that dream is about, and there's a long story that goes with it, but which I'll get into actually. That dream, I was afraid of something that was coming, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I would have that dream reoccur over several different points in my childhood, and eventually, I can't remember how old I was, but eventually in that dream, there was a bunch of events that happened around this, like actual events that happen around when this next part happens in the dream, but basically in the dream, eventually, at one point I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna open the door, and whatever's behind the door is gonna be behind the door. And I open the door, and then there's light, and there's all these little toys walking through the door, and I realized that, and then this, like, you know, I'm a goth, I'm a goth, I'm a rivet head, whatever, a goth, I'd probably identify more with the goth thing than anything, but I realized that, embracing my darkness and, not being afraid of, my darkness, and that, and I don't know exactly what, I guess I don't know exactly what prompted me to explore my darkness, but at some point I realized that is a part of who I am, and then in the dream, opening the door, just saying fuck it, opening the door, and whatever's behind the door is there, and I would face whatever is there, and then finding that it's light, and it's all these little toys walking around, and walking through the door and all that kind of stuff. I realized that, and you will find this theme common in a lot of my lyrics for past releases and stuff, and I do touch upon this for other stuff, but I realized that, despite, like, people think, normies think that, darkness isn't something you should explore because it's a path to the dark side and all this shit, right? And I obviously I didn't fear the darkness, and I explored it, and I found who I was through it, and facing it, you realize that there's actually light within darkness. So I'll give you an example. Like you look at like space, and some people won't they may have a different definition than I do, but nature is everything. So I'll give you an example. So obviously you walk into a forest, everything that's in the forest is natural, and then, you know, some people think, oh, okay, you know, well, there's man-made objects in the forest, there's a man-made path and all that stuff. But if you think about it, humans are a part of nature too, and everything we do and create comes from nature. So even things like vitamins or medication for certain you know, ailments or whatever, those things are still natural, because if it wasn't natural, we wouldn't be able to do it or create it. So because everything is natural. So on that line of thinking, if you think about space and you think about you know, planets and stars, and just carrying that idea forward, light is, you know, space is dark, right? So like you're traveling through space and there's various periods of light within space, like there'll be a star somewhere. But if you think about the nature of the universe or whatever, light is just as natural as anything else. Like at some point you'll find a planet somewhere, or some point you'll find a star somewhere. And if that wasn't the case, then there would be no sun, there would be no... I think I got that idea across. And so that logic, you will find light within darkness. For me, no, this might be an oxymoron, but you know, after facing myself and facing my darkness and learning about my darkness, I realized that, you know, those things actually, and going through darkness, those things actually, I found light within darkness. I found peace and I found happiness. And I know some of you will probably think that I'm being hokey and shit, but like, if you think about it, like, you know, I love going into cemeteries. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Like the key word being love. Like those things make me happy. Those things, I find peace in those things. I find peace in writing music, even though that sometimes the subjects I touch upon are political or even maybe even darker things, or like my first album, you know, I touched upon depression and you know, that kind of stuff. So, but you know, you heal, and I guess there's a level of acceptance too. Like you have to accept who you are, and you have to accept yourself as a whole. Like, you know, you can't just accept, oh, I'm just this thing of light. You know, there's more to a person than just light. There's also darkness, and then, you know, like we all have a history, we all have a past, you know. Anyway, I think you get the point there. So Save the Freaks was kind of inspired by that dream, and it's also kind of a you know, like I feel like I'm speaking a message of positivity to people, and I think to people who listen, to you who listen, and I'm not, and maybe I'm not saving you, but I'm definitely, I feel like I'm showing a different side of darkness, and I would hope that people learn from that. And the other side of the song is that, you know, like, accept who you are. I'm a freak. I love myself, and I'm a freak. Yeah, so that's, you know, just accepting yourself for who you are. And I think everyone should do that, and you should accept yourself as a whole. You know, not just the light side, also the darkness. Like, not saying that we're these two extremes. I'm just saying, like, you know, accepting yourself as a whole, and then you will truly know who you are, And yeah, it's a message of positivity and, you know, my you know, acceptance of who I am. Yes, I'm a freak, or a goth, or a rivet head, whatever you want to call me. I consider myself goth more than anything, but yeah, that's kind of what the song is about. I know that meaning of was a little long, but yeah, that's the meaning of Save the Freak. So the next video will be about We All Want Peace. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you feel it has value, please share it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. Are you proud of who you are? Are you proud to be a goth? Are you proud to be a rivet head? Are you proud to be a freak? You know, leave those in, if you are, or if you're not, leave them in the comments. Maybe I have some tips for you or something like that. So, and you know, subscribe to the channel if you feel the channel has value, and hit that bell button to be notified when the next video comes out. So see you in the next video. Fuck yeah.